Hey, good morning YouTube. I'm the Tech Prepper. Today I wanted to take a look at FRS Radios. These are those little handy talkies that you see like at Walmart and Target and the sporting goods stores that come in a pack of like 2, 4, 6, and 8, I believe. And they're really inexpensive. And the reason why I like the FRS radios is because I believe there's a specific place for them in the prepper comms area. So personally, I'm a ham radio operator, which is a FCC licensed amateur band, but that does require you to study and there's a bit of work involved. The FCC also has, I believe since 1996, has had the family radio service, and they're license free. And in fact, they actually don't call it license free. They call it licensed by rule. And all that means is you don't actually need a license. You just need to follow the rules that govern the family radio service. And I've got a really cheap Midland X-Talker here. I've had this for a few years. And the reason why I like it is because this is what my wife and I use to communicate. So we do a lot of trips in our RV. And we haven't got to the point yet where we're towing it, so we do something called chasing. So she just follows me in our Jeep, and rather than having to use our cell phone when we want to be in contact, for example, pulling over, or if we get a couple cars between us, we basically just agree on a channel on our FRS radios, and we're able to communicate. We also use it for when we arrive at a campsite, for her to help me back into a space if it's a tight fit and I can't do it with just the camera. And then she typically doesn't go hiking with me, so when we do go out and she's in the RV, I'll typically hit a trail. And what's nice about it is that I typically get pretty good range when I have a line of sight on the backpacks and I can actually see the campsite. I would say that's about the only time I actually get decent range out of these guys. I've been able to get probably about 7 or 8 miles of range, but in reality, it's more like half a mile to a mile, especially when you're chasing each other in the cars. And if you lose line of sight, like all radio, you're not gonna get anything. So if there's a place for you where you wanna have communications, this may be the way to go, because it does not require a license. Just look at the rules. And these radios are actually pretty locked down. For it to be a FRS compliant radio, it can't have a detachable antenna. I mean, this antenna is almost worthless. I'll show you in a second. It also has power restrictions on the effective radiating power. I believe for most channels it's 0.5 watt. And then on some of the other channels, it goes up to 2 watts, but I think that overlaps with GMRS. What's interesting about the FRS channelized frequencies is that I can actually take something like my Baofeng, and what's interesting about these Chinese radios, and the reason why the FCC does not like them, is because you can it has the FRS frequencies, among other things, fully unlocked. So you can both transmit and receive on FRS, which is not allowed by the FCC for a number of reasons. One is the power output level on these radios exceeds the FRS specifications. So this is a 5 watt radio, I believe, and I have another one that's 8 watts. So obviously that exceeds the 0.5 watt on some channels and the 2 watts on the other channels. And this one also has a detachable antenna, which is also not permitted on the FRS frequencies. What's interesting is that this is a very inexpensive radio. In fact, it might be cheaper than the FRS radios. I think I paid $30 for this Baofeng ham radio. And it supports those features because I guess China doesn't give a darn. And my more expensive handheld, my Yaesu FT60R, which is a moderately expensive handheld radio, actually requires a hack. They call it the Mars Cap Hack, and you can take it to like the ham radio outlet. and they will basically hack the phone or hack the handheld so that you can actually transmit on those FRS frequencies. Again, it's not allowed by the FCC because of the output requirements, the fact that the antenna is detachable, and this device has not been blessed for FRS use. Let's see if I missed anything. Oh, a few things here. So these radios also have a nice feature insofar as that a lot of them have NOAA weather scanning support, so you can actually get those transmissions. So I'm going to turn this guy on, and I'm going to go ahead and scan weather. And since I'm in an apartment, I'm going to have to turn this on full blast and actually put it up by the window. So it's kind of nice if you are in a situation where you want to have local weather communication, and this would be perfect for a grid down scenario. The other reason why I like these is that they have a USB charger. So as you've seen in most of my videos, a lot of the devices I use standardize on 5 volt, half amp USB charging. So this works with all of my battery power plant systems. I think that might be it. So there's another service called GRMS, which is licensed, but it's just a fee that you pay. I may do a series on that one. And then obviously the Big Daddy would be getting into ham radio, and I'll certainly do a series on those. So be strong, be safe, and think about adding an FRS radio to your collection. Thanks, guys.